How's it going, YouTube? So, got another water list for you guys. I know this has been a little weird, honestly, that we've been having so many water lists, but honestly, it's just an element that we just want to test more and more, and just really try to see if there's anything that we're missing in it. So, what I have for you today is a water slimes list. Now, a lot of people have not been working on water slimes. We've seen obviously norm slimes and fire slimes, top events, and we've seen like main decks wind slime, but we haven't seen a water slime, at least not that I've seen, at least not at the time of recording this. So let's just jump right in. So Spirit of Water, like I said, we're not playing the other one, normal slime or fire slime, so we are missing out on some of those, factors that make those decks strong, as of course, but we also are getting some really strong stuff because we are in water. Silvie level 1, that shouldn't be anything crazy. Silvie level 2, get a buff counter, possibly draw up to 2 cards, and then Slime Sovereign Silvie. So with this one, you get to play that slime for 2 less and get 2 buff counters, so often it's free to play that slime. And then Stone Scale Band. This shouldn't be anything crazy. Again, Stone Scale Band is a very, very good card. The ability to cycle and then eventually turn on your Guy's Blessing even easier to make your Storm Slime stronger. Obviously, this is like the combo of the deck to make it, really gain resources. Guy's Blessing essentially allows you to draw a card every turn. Every single time you play one of those cards from your deck, you're essentially drawing a card. It is only animals or beasts, of course, but still, that is plenty because of how many we run in this deck. Backup Charger. It's GCR, essentially. It comes up less often than this deck. Honestly, this is the least I ever play Backup Charger is in this deck because I do usually just need Guy's Blessing, or I am just playing cards every single turn, so I don't hold up a ton for Backup Charger in the late game. Early game, you might be able to pop it though, and if you have an off turn or something like that. Quicksilver Grail, that's why we're not playing GCR. Quicksilver Grail, when it first came out, we said it was a 2 out of 5, and we said, but it will get better with each set. In this set, it's really shining and showing its colors of how strong it can be. And so obviously it's not a 2 out of 5 anymore. It's probably closer to a 4 out of 5 because of how many decks can play it and utilize its strength with the new and cards that have come out and/or old cards that are now being relevant, such as Covenant of Thorns. So Covenant of Thorns, it wasn't really played in previous sets, but since now Silvie is strong, this is very good and very good when it's paired with Quicksilver Grail. Helps you stay alive. Put on a Majestic Spirit, and now they kill off their own Majestic Spirit if they want to hit you. Put it on your own, big buffed slime because it can take a lot of damage. Put it onto their ally that's swinging for 9, so that way it kills itself off. Anything like that, Covenant of Thorns is amazing for, and that's why it's with Quicksilver Grail. Verdant Scepter, in longer grindier games, this can just help you gain resources and advantage. Yeah, you're killing one of your guys, but you are going to get at least, most likely, 3 to 4 to 5. I've gotten even 6 and 7 counters on this, so we can draw that many cards once per turn, of course. Or once it's restanded every single time. And that's just a lot of value. Like in a grindier matchup, that's what you need. You need card advantage to stay alive, to find your other Storm Slimes, your other Crux Slimes, your game enders, your protection, whatever it might be. And so Verdant Scepter is very good. Horde of Beast Calling, I've used this so many times just to end a game. I have 3 cards in hand, or 4 cards in hand, and I play a Storm Slime, and then I Horn of Beast Calling, and I Storm Slime again for free, and that's usually anywhere between 7 damage per Storm Slime, all the way up to 10 damage per Storm Slime, and so you're hitting for 14 to 20 damage, regardless of their swings. And so Horn of Beast Calling, very, very, very good. And it's even better in this deck because of some of the, colorful choices we have in this deck. And then finally, Beastbound Boots. Honestly, it's really good. Spell Shroud was very underrepresented in previous sets. Now that Silvie's good and beasts and animals are good, then Beastbound Boots becomes really good against those Merlins, those Rise that might be lingering around, mainly Merlins, but of course, and Storm Slimes. In the mirror match, Beastbound Boots is very, very good. That's the materia deck. That was fast, I know, but here's some words from Caven.
Hey guys, don't forget to go check out our Patreon, linked in the description below. If you've been liking the YouTube content, we have a lot more content on Patreon. We make sure to load up the content over there and make you really feel like the money that you're helping support us with is worth it. Also, to help support us, please use our TCG player affiliate link in the description below. It comes at no cost to you. It just gives us a little bit of a kickback if you use our link. We also have a way for you to save money. If you use code TRUE5, all one word, at dragonshield.com, you are going to save 5% off your order and also help us make a little bit of money for our channel to keep upgrading camera equipment and all that stuff. We also have AMB pre-orders up live on our website, also linked below. Go check out that description. There's so many links, so many cool ways to interact with us, to save money, to get ready for the next set. So we have a mega bundle deal up right now. You can get a case as well as one of each starter deck for a really killer price. We try to be super competitive out there, and we appreciate all of your support. Thank you guys so much.
All right, so the main deck. Let me start with a chunk here of the utility cards, that's what I would put it. So first and foremost, we have 4 Fracturize. This, again, shouldn't be crazy. This is a water deck. Fracturize is at an all-time high of power level of a card. There's so many things that Fracturize is really good for. There's ways in this deck to plus ourselves. I'll show you that in a second. So that way we can Fracturize our own stuff to gain value. A really simple one is the token that we get from Backup Charger, Fracturizing the Backup Charger token. Since we don't really need it, we could utilize it with how our deck is, but honestly, it's better to just Fracturize it early on. So we put a floating memory in the drop, and then we have a mana rock, essentially, something we can tap to pay for costs, and that basically a plus us 1 card, essentially, because we minus 1 card by playing this, but because we're gaining something that can help pay for stuff, and cards are like the way we pay for stuff, it's plussing us 1, and then we put 1 in the drop, so that's where we can use this for leveling up, for drawing, a card that draws, or like Horn of Beast Calling or whatever. That's actually where we do plus. So one other thing we actually hit with is not just the token from Backup Charger, and that's why Fracturize is so good. Of course, hitting your opponent's stuff, hitting a prismatic edge when they're not protecting it, not playing around it, hitting a gun if they're not protecting it, hitting any other sword, honestly, in general, while they're leveling up, and then of course boots from like Tristan or something like that. So very, very good card in my opinion. Gather Slimes, this is how we search out slimes, and how we give ourselves a little bit of a health resource back, so we're not just taking a bunch of chip damage and dying instantly just from that alone. So Gather Slimes allows us to dig. We can dig up to 20 cards into our deck. One thing I will say that I don't have this deck and I would try to fit in would probably like 2 Blissfuls. I wanted to dig just a little bit more, I think, when playtesting this, and when I took it to regionals, it's just like I felt like I was just missing a little bit of that dig resource. So but Gather Slime's very, very good. I would never cut this down to 4 or less than 4 in this deck. It is so strong. Then we have a 3 of Song of Frost. So guess what's really popular now? If you've been paying attention to all the regionals that have been happening this weekend as of a recording, and the weekend before that, Nico. Nico is at an all-time high in terms of people playing it and its performance. Song of Frost can stop a lot of that damage, a lot of that mill. If they go to Icebound Slam and you have a Song of Frost, they just put their whole hand down and don't get to do anything. That's really strong, especially if they don't have another one. If they have another one, that's a bummer, unless you have another one of these. Another thing that this is really good for is those allies matchups. A lot of allies have been playing the Second Wind or Rally Advance combo. If it's Second Wind, they're usually doing it in response to their attack. So they attack and say, before damage, I'm going to Second Wind, restand it, and so it's going to hit for +1 attack if they're on Lorraine. When they play the Second Wind, you can Song of Frost it, so the Second Wind goes away. That first attack that they did didn't go through as well, which means they're also going to attack for a second time, so you just stopped 15 damage with 1 card, and that's really, really good value. Of course, same thing with, as always, Fire Lorraine, or maybe even Fire Aggro Xander with their Rending Flames. Honestly, Song of Frost just comes up so often. You help use it, protect your stuff. We run 1 more on the side. Love this card, honestly. And then kind of the spice and tech of the deck, not really tech, but just what makes a deck good, honestly, is 4 Primordial Rituals. So, something that's really big right now is Stifling Trap. And Stifling Trap has to hit the target, basically it has to fully resolve for it to negate the on-enter. So if that target is no longer there when Stifling Trap fully resolves, or before it resolves, so let's say that they try to Stifling Trap our Dungeon Guide, which I'll talk about here, of course, shortly. This shouldn't be any surprise to anyone. If they Stifling Trap our Dungeon Guide, we can Primordial Ritual it. It will kill it off as part of cost, so you literally can't do anything about that, because so far all the ritual cards, the 2 ritual cards we have, is the additional cost is to sacrifice an ally, so that will die. The on-enter will be on the stack. Stifling Trap doesn't see its target anymore, it will fizzle, and our on-enter will go through. Now, that's a basic thing. Something really nice with this is hitting our baby gray slimes. You go Baby Gray Slime, and you leave it there, and they attack into it with a unit to try to, just kill it off because they don't want to, to block their bigger attacks or whatever it might be. And then we Primordial Ritual it, and now we're going to mill 2. So we don't run that high of a count of floating memory, but that's really okay in this deck because this, of course, in itself is a floating memory. And as you know, if you've played slimes, putting slime cards in the drop is just really good. So you can get out that Guy's Blessing, so you can make your storm slimes even bigger. And we run another card just in case we mill 2 good of slimes in there, and you guys probably can guess what that is. But Primordial Ritual has so many options to it. Honestly, I really, really like that combo. And then we have 3 Bestial Frenzy. People who are not running this card, honestly, I've seen some decks that just don't run it who might not think it's very good. Allies are a thing, and this absolutely destroys allies. We play 5, before level 3 beasts in the deck that can utilize this as soon as we're level 2 because they have Pride 2. And when you go put down a beast, cleave their whole board because they just went wide because no one really is running too many cleave cards. And yeah, they kill off your guy, which is either going to be a slime or a floating memory in our case, which is both totally fine for us because if they're going to retaliate, sorry. Bestial Frenzy is just a beast of a card. We also run Vampiric Slimes, and if you ever have been able to Vampiric Slime and Bestial Frenzy on top of that, clear board while healing 9, 12, depending on 15, 20 health, that kind of high and how awesome it is. I love Bestial Frenzy. I have never lost against an ally deck with a slime deck when I have Bestial Frenzies in hand and have the ability to play it. It's just, it wins you games. It will completely take over the game in your favor, and that's why I love it so much. Finally, we have Forest Cake. So Forest Cake is that other card I was talking about that we can use with Fracturize. So Forest Cake, when you play it, replaces itself. And if we don't have a great beast that we want to pop that, or animal or beast we want to pop that buff counter on, we can actually Fracturize our own Forest Cake. Because this can Fracturize a target item, and Forest Cake is an item. So when we go Forest Cake, draw a card, it replaces itself, so we're net even. We Fracturize it, so now this is a fractal, so this now replaced itself, right? Or by making this a fractal, and now we have a floating memory in the drop for free. This is one of Water's very few +1s, as we always call it over here at TCG. We would say +1s, which meaning anything that gives you basically a floating memory in your drop for free, essentially. So we get to +1 really easily with just a 2-card combo. Same thing as Windmill, Engineer, and Reclaim. Same thing as just Creative Shock. Creative Shock is the best +1 in the game. Most people know that. But Forest Cake, don't just use it for that buff counter. You can get a lot of value out of it just by Fracturizing it. And now the allies. So I already brought one in earlier, and I've talked about several, but Dungeon Guide. We can actually use Dungeon Guide's effect even if they have a Stifling Trap. We'd have a little more resources in hand if we're going to do that. But Dungeon Guide's very, very good still. It's not as good as it was because Stifling Trap is a thing, but still, honestly, it's just worth it. In Silvie, when you want to get to the level 3, so you're really doing your high-powered attacks and turns and whatever, playing your high-value units, you need Dungeon Guide to get there. We have 3 Ordinary Bear. This is that, one of those beast slime out, and I'll put the 2 engineered slimes. You can mess around with this ratio, honestly. We run a 4th bear on the side for the ally matchups, actually. You can run more engineered slimes, more bears. I don't, feel free to mix that around and how it fits to you. I just like having the floating memory because we do run Primordial Ritual. So sometimes I have sacked this off just to get another, 2 floating memory in the drop. Sometimes you mill a 3rd, and you just go to level 3 for free, whatever it might be. Like I said, this is just pretty much here for those ally matchups to have an early beast or animal we can play. These are both beasts, but a beast we can play on board so we can get our level 2 effects, so we can get our the buff counter on it, whatever it might be. That's why they're here. We don't have the luxury of being able to play Baby Wind Slime or Baby Red Slime, so we need other filler cards to do so, and that's what these are. Then we play 3 Scavenger Raccoon with a 4th on the side. We'll get to our side later, but as I've been talking about it, you can kind of recognize a pattern. We're just playing additional copies of what we already have in the main deck. Okay, Scavenger Raccoon. You're going to tilt some people with this card. No one expects you to play this. No one is playing around it. I know from experience of playing this deck and playing against people when I've done this to them, especially if you do it twice in a row, it's devastating. A lot of people are just throwing floating memory in their drop and they know not to do it against Merlin, but they're really not thinking about it at all against Silvie. And honestly, I would, if I built a Silvie deck and I, was redoing how I want to play like normal slimes or fire slimes or even wind slimes, I'd be putting Scavenging Raccoon in. This is such a good card. I have absolutely taken over games because people just are not paying attention to their floating memory, drop and how careless they're being with it. Also, a great Primordial Ritual target because it's only a 1/1, and if you're losing that value, that's fine. You're putting an animal in the drop for Gaia's Blessing. This is such a good card. It's amazing how good that card is because people just don't play around it anymore. And now we kind of got our slimes package. So, other than the engineered slime, baby blue slime. Honestly, this is just an okay drop for being level 1. You go level 1, you play baby blue. This is now a 2. It's that extra buff counter from Silvie level 1. This is a 2-drop 2/4. That's just kind of hard to kill off. People don't really want to sink a bunch of damage into it. If they do, you're saving 4 to like 5 to 6 health maybe. Probably not 6, but anywhere between 4 and 5 health, and that's just really good. Again, you can, as soon as they're about to kill it, Primordial Ritual it, so it's going to die anyway, and at least you put a floating memory in your drop, mill some, might get another floating memory from that. So this is just really, really good. Honestly, I have played it too with a buffed up like Limitless and just block the damage because it's just, honestly, it's that good. Or people try to, like, well, I want to kill the Limitless, or I want to kill X slime, but Baby Blue is on board, so I have to swing into that first. And now they're wasting 3 damage into this, and right before it dies, you can still tap it to protect your other slime on board. And when you do that, then they have to swing a bunch more into that slime they're going to kill before. So Baby Blue, honestly, it's a necessary evil. It's not really, it's not replacing itself, but it's not doing anything too harmful, and it can help and, just make it more annoying for them to deal with your board. Baby Gray, MVP of the deck by far. As far as animals go for the deck, it's a card that can replace itself. Great primordial ritual target. It's cheap. It can block damage, it has intercept. It's so good. Don't ever play less than 4 of those. Maybe if you have a weird slime count, then I get it. But if you can afford it, put all 4 in. It's so strong. Limitless Slime. This is Floating Memory, so again, it's one of those cards that we can hit with Primordial Ritual. It's a slime, it's an animal, it's a lot of stuff. Once you get to level 3, it's actually swinging for quite a bit. If they don't kill it off, it's just getting bigger and bigger. It becomes a threat that they really always have to deal with. It's just really, really good. I really enjoy Limitless Slime. Again, 1 out of 4 of. Ethereal Slime. It shouldn't be a surprise. Ethereal Slime can be huge if it's the first slime you play. And even after that, it becomes a 2-drop 3/3, which is just really strong. It's a really good card. It has Stealth and True Sight. People forget about both those aspects. You can kill off, the Shimmer Cloaks. You can kill off Dream Fairies. If this gets Dream Fairied, it feels a little bad, but that's why we do have Bestial Frenzies to actually cleave board, kill off Dream Fairies. Or I guess you could Storm Slime a Dream Fairy. That feels a little bad, but that's why we have Bestial Frenzies. Otherwise, this is just replacing itself. When you do banish, we have decent targets to hit, depending on the matchup. If you think the game's not going to go very long, like against, aggro decks, then maybe get rid of Verdant Slime, or Verdant Scepter. If you're against a deck that has no spell damage, you get rid of Beastbound Boots, of course. Same thing, you can get rid of Horn of Beast Calling. That's a pretty often target people do, and I have done as well. But yeah, Ethereal Slime, very good. And then we have 4 Storm Slime. It's your killer, right? Like, this is how you end games. You have anywhere between 6 to 10 to 12 slime cards in your banishment, and Storm Slime just hits for that much. And they have to respect it. They have to do stuff about it. They have to, stifling it, which if they try to stifle this, again, you can Primordial Ritual it, and that on enter will still go on the stack, and then its on death will happen because you put, even if this is your free card for the turn, because you just went to level 3, you can then use Primordial Ritual if they're going to Stifling Trap it to kill it off, because you put 2 down for Primordial Ritual, and then so you get to banish 2, and then your on enter is still going to go through. So and then you're going to mill 2 cards as well. You're doing all this stuff that allows Storm Slime to just be that good. Yeah, you're going to miss out on the damage from it swinging, but at least you're not missing the on enter. So Storm Slime, obviously very, very good. We have 2 King Slimes. I had this at 3. 3 felt like a bit much because Slime King still can be hard to get out. But for primordial ritualing and we're putting a bunch of slimes in a drop, if we accidentally hit a storm slime, this is a way for us to bring it back because we can play a slime king, banishing 3 other cards, one being like storm slime, maybe one being the ethereal slime, and then that way now we have this 4/5 they have to deal on board, and then when it dies, these will come back again. You can also primordial ritual this target, so you can kill off your own storm slimes or your own slime kings to get your slimes underneath it that have been banished by it to go off. So Slime King is actually really good. I've only played it a couple times, but when it comes up, it kind of just shuts out the game when it does, and that just feels it's a really good feeling in a deck when you can just do that and stop your opponent from just winning from there on. Lustrous Slime, honestly, getting a big Lustrous Slime out can be the exact same feeling as that Slime King. I've had this many times be my first slime, so it's either it's a 3/7, and maybe I have just one card down there from Dungeon Guide that was a slime, so it might be a 4/8, and honestly, that's really hard to deal with for most decks, and then it heals you. I've had this, I think the biggest one I've had is a 6/10, which is kind of insane for a Luster Slime. So it had 5 additional buff counters on it, and again, it was against an aggro deck, so it just kind of shut them out. They couldn't really do anything about it. And then finally, Vampiric Slime. You could flex this if you wanted to, but I do like having the option of sometimes just dropping this as being my first slime, it getting 2 buff counters, and then just swinging and healing 4. Sometimes that's just enough to stabilize the game for you. Killing off something and healing 4 is just sometimes what you need. And of course, the beauty that sometimes does happen when the stars align, and you can play a Vampiric Slime with Bestial Frenzy. Obviously, that feels amazing. You wish you could do that every game when you're taking some chip damage early on. It doesn't always happen, but when it does, my goodness, does it feel good. So that's it for the main deck. Here is the sideboard. So like I said, this is a lot of just additional counts. So we have 1 more Song of Frost, we have 1 more Bestial, we have 1 more Vampiric Slime, 1 more Bear, 1 more Scavenger Raccoon, 1 more Lustrous Slime. We all play these in the main, but they're just 1 additional counts. These bump these ones up to 3 counts against aggro matchups. These bump them all up to 4. Yes, I will put 4 Bestial Frenzy and the Bear in, so I have more cleave ability early on to just stop allies from winning. I've done it so many times. It works so well, trust me. And then finally, we have the last couple cards, which aren't in the main deck at all, but are necessary evils, I feel like. Well, maybe not this one. Verdant Slime is one of those cards that I did bring in twice. I've only brought in twice at a regionals, and one of the times it actually did really come up, killing off a Sword of Seeking before they can start doing Ascension looping, making it so they have to go to level 3 and then 1 more materialization thereafter. It's just really strong. And also sometimes just being a 6/6 taunt as your first slime is enough to, again, shut out games, because now they're like, I have to swing into this, it can kill off it can retaliate on one of those allies and kill it off or whatever it might be. And so that does happen, not that often, but really, it's there to destroy a Regalia if it's a really pesky Regalia. And then we have 2 Twilight Slimes. We do have Beastbound Boots in the main, but extra Spell Shroud is always really nice against those decks. You can flash this in, we have Stone Scale Band in, and just stop, spells from hitting either your champion or your allies on board, wherever it might be. So just a very, very strong card. And then, more flex spots. We're on Beastbound Ears because, if you get minus a level from Dustlight Communion, that can feel pretty bad. You can't swing with any of your, beasts or whatever it might be. It's a kind of a necessary evil right now. People understand that tech. If you don't know what that tech is, look at some regionals and see some of those decks that are playing. Usually any deck that's going into Umbra. Even then again, some of those decks aren't. So Beastbound Ears is a necessary evil. And then we have a Nullifying Lantern. Honestly, this is definitely a flex. You can put anything in here. I want a Nullifying Lantern because Nico is strong, and it stops Icebound Slams from hitting additional 5 damage. It stops, the graveyards from erupting for at least a turn, because we do run Grail in the main. We do run, against Fire Aggro Lorraine and against kind of Fire Xander. So that's it for the deck, guys. Let me know how it works for you guys. I played at locals, and I played, I didn't play at locals. I almost did, and then I realized I didn't have enough cards. I forgot like a 4 of at home. But I did play it at regionals and did in testing, and it runs really well. I wouldn't say it is a 100% tier 1 deck, but it is a tier like 2-ish deck, especially with some minor fixes and changes. I would tweak a couple things here and there. Again, like that Nullifying Lantern, I didn't really play that often. I did play against a Merlin to stop their Ascension looping from graveyard, so they couldn't truck site stuff back. But honestly, it felt more like just kind of a weak card to have in there. But it might be more necessary now that Nico has won like every single regional. So thank you so much for watching. Test the deck out. Let me know how it works for you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.